Hi everyone, congratulations, you've made it to the end, or almost to the end. This is the last of the weekly videos, and it'll be probably a little shorter than usual, because this week we're just wrapping things up. And the very last exercise that we have in the workbook, in the portfolio, is a reflection on where you've been, how far you've come, and it's structured, in, of course, in the format of a letter to a student who's starting this course or this unit of this subject for the first time, to give you something to work with. But the object of it really is for you to think about what is it you've learnt this term and where it is you're going. And one of the big issues we have in education is, how to encourage people to be lifelong learners, how to cultivate that sense of planning and professional development that people have around their careers. In education theory, there's a stark difference between pedagogy, which is teaching children, which is all about, holding reluctant prisoners captive and trying to make them learn something, and what used to be called andragogy, which is teaching adults, which technically it's teaching men, which is why we don't really use that term much anymore, because then we have to talk about andragogy and gynagogy. But anyway, but the whole idea of adult education is that people learn the things they need to learn. You don't teach people things just for busy work like you do children, because children need to know the names of all the rivers in Western Australia and all the things that you learn as a kid in school. But as an adult learner, you need people that are expected to be focused on what they need to know for career purposes. But we do then end up with a lot of learners who are still stuck in the pedagogy mindset. Now, if you're one of those people, you're unlikely to have made it this far through the videos, because people who are the pedagogical learners, the childlike learners, are very much focused on you just get me to do something and I'll do it when you tell me to do it. You set me assessment tasks, you set me deadlines, and I will grudgingly try and make those deadlines and drag my feet every step of the way. And there are a lot of people at uni that still learn like children. And one of the things we hope is that we help you make that transition to being an adult learner, where you are learning more in your own time and for your own purposes, and being very self-directed and focusing on the things that you need to learn. Unfortunately, I guess for some, that adult learners don't have a lot of patience for busy work. So if you're still trying to teach to the pedagogical model to the students who are just the, make us do it or we won't do it, then that means that people who are already learning in the higher way get very frustrated by being told, here's some busy work, you have to do it for your own good. And that does impact on the design of something like this unit, because one of the ways we could have gone about designing legal research was very much those micro tasks and quizzes and, micro assessment, and focused very much on working people through those small sort of micro tasks. Apart from the fact that those things are very easy to cheat and often not worth their while, it does also, I think, becomes very alienating for people who are like most of you folk who have gotten to week 12 and are still listening to the videos, if there's anyone out there at all, who are learning for their own purposes, who, if I go away and say find the citations for 20 cases and type them in, they're just, you are going to see that as completely pointless busy work. So there's that balance you always have to try and strike. But personally, as an educator, I'm much more interested in the people who are either already there or are making that transition to learning like an adult and are thinking about, well, what is this going to be useful for? How is this going to be useful? So Module 12 is about thinking about those things and thinking about going forward. Well, what are the skills I need to develop? What are the things I can do right now? I actually know how to do, to distinguish a case or whatever. I know how to, do a visualization of some data, but how can I get better at that? And often that means doing things of your own initiative, doing little projects, learning, looking stuff up online, doing MOOCs, then coming back and doing little projects and producing evidence of what you can do. It's often about learning by doing and not sitting back and waiting for someone to tell you to do it and hope that you learn something along the way. But one of the outcomes of that is that as a resource, while you're still at university, and like technically even once you graduate, I'm still available to you guys to come and ask questions for. And I don't get a lot of questions, but occasionally I'll get people from third year who will say, remember me from legal research? Well, I've got this question about doing this or doing that. And I can not often help people with the content matter of your third year subjects, because that's where you talk to your course coordinator, who'll know much more about the actual content, but about the methods and how-tos and thinking about that stuff, I'm quite happy to keep talking to people about that. And again, that's that difference between being the childlike learner who says, I'm just going to do the bare minimum that I have to, that you're going to make me to do, and I'm going to get through it as quickly as possible, and the adult learner who is very much focused on setting their own objectives and doing things to learn what it is they can and can't do, and then to be diagnostic about filling those gaps. So hopefully looking back on the approach with the matrix each week is going to make more sense to you now. I suspect at the start of term that might have been something that seemed needlessly complex, but hopefully now going back to it, you can actually see that you're learning it in each of these areas is on a continuum, and it's on something that all of us are sitting somewhere along that continuum line, and everyone can improve and everyone can do better. But in a world where you have limited time and limited concentration, what do you prioritize? What is it that you need to learn? You know, you spend 3 or 4 years of your degree focusing on a lot on cases, whereas that's something that is not actually used that much in professional practice. So part of this is also about distinguishing the things you need to do to get a legal qualification, which is based around the Priestley 11 and those fields of knowledge, and very much focused around common law case analysis, and what you're going to be doing in that legal career that you aim for. And there are going to be lots of different skills and different things that you're going to hardly have practiced at all at university that you're going to need to know how to do. All right, so that's pretty much it for this week. Very happy to keep the conversation going, very happy to talk more about these things, very happy for feedback. So, I mean, the obvious way is the Have You Say survey, always encourage people to do those, but I'm also much more interested in personal feedback, where someone can say, you know, when I started legal research, I thought I was going to learn how to do this. I didn't learn how to do this. How can I do this? And that's good for several reasons. I mean, one is it's good feedback for me to think about course content and to go, look, a lot of people decided they wanted to do this. I hadn't really thought about putting that in the course, or maybe I could put more of that in. So a couple of years ago, a lot of people were interested in the debates around fake news. And I put a little bit of that in there in response to those questions. So that's really good feedback for me. But it's also better feedback for you, because then I can give you an answer to your question. Whereas if you go in to Have Your Say and just say, I didn't learn about fake news and I want to learn about fake news, it's like, well, good, but how can I actually tell you some points or tips or anything when it's an anonymous survey? So by all means, please fill out the survey. They want us to have lots of people answer them. They want high response rates, all the rest of it. That's good, but it's not very useful for you. And even if it's great feedback and I go, oh, that's going to make the course so much better, you've done the course now, so that doesn't help you. So please, feel free. Personal feedback, make a time to talk, all those things. And going forward, I'm still going to be around for the next few years at least. And I'm very happy to talk to students who are not currently enrolled in the subject I teach, who are all part of the CQU family going forward.